Mr. President, it's become a GPS tradition that when we have the honor of having you on the program, rather than me making a book recommendation, you do. You've just come back from vacation. You must have taken a pile of books.
I did.
Which among them would you recommend?
On the fiction side, The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. Terrific book. Powerful. Discussing some of the issues around race and American history. The other book that I really enjoyed, a book by an Israeli author, Yuval Harari, called Sapiens. And it's a sweeping history of the human race from 40,000 feet. And part of what makes it so interesting and provocative is that because it's such a condensed, sweeping history, it talks about some core things that have allowed us to build this extraordinary civilization that we take for granted but weren't a given, and gives you a sense of perspective in how briefly we've been on this earth, how short things like agriculture and science have been around, and why it makes sense for us to not take them for granted. And you know, it goes back to keeping the long view in mind. You know, oftentimes when I'm going through a really difficult problem in the presidency, I think back to one of my first foreign visits to Cairo. And after I gave a speech there, we went to the pyramids and had all afternoon to wander through it. One of the perks of being president was they kind of cleared out and yeah, the pyramids live up to the hype. They're magnificent. But as you're looking at the hieroglyphics and you're getting the background on how they were built and the Egyptian government at the time, you're reminded that I'm sure they had their versions of polls and scandals and you know, economic ups, and you know, what's left is those pyramids. So that's what I mean about not sweating the small stuff. You know, in the sweep of history, we get a very small moment in time. We try to treat people, I always tell my daughters, treat people kindly, be useful, use your time well, but remember you're part of the sweep of this big story that brings us all together.
Time and chance happeneth to them all.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Mr. President, thank you so much.
I enjoyed it.
Thanks again to President Obama for his time and his thoughts, and thanks to all of you for being part of this special edition of GPS. I will see you back here next week for another special edition, this time marking the 15th anniversary of the September 11th attacks.
The role of China is one of inclusiveness and integration and a rising tide that lifts all ships.
By achieving continuing growth, that's the biggest favor it can do for the global economy.
This One Belt, One Road project is one of the most astonishing things in history. China is the model for all developing nations in the world. The 21st century is going to be the century of China.
It's a crucial time for people of the world to address the plight of civilians in Aleppo.
This was a house right here. Look, it's all houses.
Neither side is able to win a decisive victory. This is actually hell. This is what hell feels like. And there's no way it can get any worse than this. But it did. It got a lot worse. I sat in the apartment of an elder woman called Suad, who lost 3 of her sons in this war. And I asked Suad, why don't you leave Aleppo? And she answered me very simply, why should I leave Aleppo? My home. Let me tell you, this is not going to end in a week. It could take years, and tens of thousands of people could be killed. I have been a war correspondent for more than 10 years. I have never seen anything on the scale of Aleppo. There are no winners in Aleppo.
I'm Becky Anderson, and this is CNN.
Calcutta celebrates as thousands turn out in Rome to watch Pope Francis declare Mother Teresa a saint. Plus, the second full day of the G20 summit gets underway shortly in China after a number of side meetings that deserve a second look. And on the rocky road to the White House, the polls tighten as Donald Trump's supporters finesse his stand on immigration.